So we're going to have a reflective exercise. But for those of you that's been part of the Life Series community, we've always had a particular set of questions, and they're forever green. When people say, but I've done this, I say, no. What you need to remember is that whatever your life was like 6 months ago, you're not necessarily at the same point. And one of the habits you must learn is to always reevaluate where you are so that your decisions are on point. When you want to live intentionally, you need to be a lot more data-driven. And being data-driven is not just about companies, it's about your life too. It's about putting context to where your life is and assessing where you are and where you want to go and making the sharpest decision for that point. It makes all the difference. It just makes all the difference. If you love a guy, if you meet a guy who likes you like crazy, you like him, he's handsome, he's cool and everything, but suddenly you realize that what he really desires in a wife is a housewife. There's nothing wrong with him. He has a right to the choice. The question is that what you want for your own life? Because if what you want is different from that, you already know you have a problem. So that if you then say, I do in that situation, the guy didn't hide his own agenda. If you then falsely accept because of other things, then you are going to pay the price for the battle of fighting to extricate yourself. I've met people who tried to change the game after they were then married. And I said, no, you married the guy under deceit. That's you that pretended you were okay with what you were not okay with. And therefore, you become accountable for the decision. And it goes both ways. So, it's the reason why, for me, I'm trying to build for my community the culture of evaluating and making the most current decision for your situation. So, it's important to see. So, I've been spending a bit of time trying to think of how to move you forward a bit with the reflection, because that's what's helped my life. It's always about never assuming yesterday was right for me, but finding the right answer for today. So let's go. We're going to go through these questions. And as I always say, the first thing you do is write down the question. When you write down the question, you will realize that you're going to start thinking of answering in the room, but you can't have enough time to. So I want you to then take time. If you love yourself, and you must learn how to love yourself. If you love yourself, you spend some time to answer the questions for you. Now, remember, the most important thing in our community is what? To thyself be true. So that no matter what you do, make sure that in answering the question, you're true to yourself. Not true to the opinion of your teacher, your auntie, your uncle, your mommy, your daddy, your husband, your children. To thyself be true. Because if you are not true to yourself first, you cannot then moderate rightly with everyone around you. But first, own your position and then decide what factors affect how you moderate it. That's what allows you to be able to go to bed at night. Or go on your last day and know that I lived the life that I was given and I made the right choices for me. I can go to sleep and know that, yes, I'm responsible for my decisions. And there's a reason why I took the actions. So my first question is, how are you? You're wondering. Oh, we need to check on each other a bit more these days. How are you? There's so much happening around the world. There's so much happening in our country. There's so much happening at work. There's so much happening in families, in homes. There's so much happening around us. But let me tell you why this question became important to me. Somehow, we've all learned how to act right, even when we're not right. We have learned the appearances. For the Christians, it is well. Really? I I know you're speaking your faith, and I'm a preacher, aren't I? But all I'm saying to you is, to what? To thyself be what? Be true. You can face the fact and take the truth of the word of God to fight it. But you must first own what is, you know, to be the fact of the situation. How are you? Can you ask your neighbor how the person is? Did you get any answer? Everybody is smiling. Is everybody okay? No. To thyself be what? Is everybody okay? See, the challenge is we all act like we're okay when we're not. And doesn't mean that we're not okay some of the times, but there are seasons or circumstances or issues or parts of our lives that are not okay. And you know what? If nobody knows where you need help, you'll have the help around you, but you won't get it. Why? Because they don't know. You're busy acting. When you see everybody, you put, and you know Nigeria, this hall, as you can see, they're clearing. I'm sure there was a party here till God knows when, yesterday. And if you want to be smiling and eating and celebrating in Nigeria from Monday to Sunday, you can. And everywhere you go, you just fit in, you dance, you wear a shebi. But people go home and cry. How are you? Write it down. Even if you can't tell anybody yet, answer the question, how am I? You can section it. How am I at work? How am I concerning my home? How am I concerning my children? How am I concerning whatever? Identify the different segments of your life and check on yourself. When you do, when it's clear to you, it'll become easier to think, do I need help? And then find your helpers. Because what you need might be next door. But if your next door neighbor doesn't know that you have a need, they can't help you. One of the most fascinating classes I had was a few years ago. I was attending a course at Kellogg's Business School, University of Chicago. And it was 58 CEOs from around the world. And this very brilliant, world-renowned professor alone was teaching our class for like 4 days. And he got to this last session, and he said to everyone, write down your lost dream, or the thing you really wish you could do, but that you haven't done. And everybody was first like, these were powerful people in the room. A number of some really rich guys in their pockets. Anyway, he got us to write it down. Everybody wrote down. Then he had all these sticker notes, post-it notes and all that. And then he started saying, okay, starting from someone, say what that dream is. Guess what? He made us in the room, for every person that raised what they wanted or what they thought they dreamt of doing but they hadn't done. He asked, is there anybody in the room that could help them fulfill the dream? I kid you not, only 2 were outstanding when we were done. Only 2 things remained in that room that could not be fulfilled. But we'd been together for about 4 days. That was our last day. We would have left without knowing the things we came in with were already in the room, and that the problem could have been solved except for that session. But they didn't know what you needed help with. So nobody could help you. You don't know your neighbors. You don't even know the power of the network of some of your friends. except they know exactly what you're looking for, they cannot put their network at use for you. Every person is 10 people away from your solution. Every single person you know. By the time they reach their number 10 person, there's someone they know that will solve your problem. But it's about you knowing how to make that connection work for you. And one of it is that we can self-identify where we are. And we can have the courage and the liberty of spirit to be able to express to our safe spaces what's really going on. And you never know where the help will come from. So how are you? So as you go through this day, I hope you'll help me to check on somebody else around you. Make your question for the day, how are you? Ask somebody else. Imbibe the habit of asking in your network how people are. Just ask regularly. I think you'll be shocked that someone that was smiling a minute ago, the next minute can burst into tears when you ask how they are. And I found it to be true in many ways. So please, I want us to look out for each other a bit more. Because you see, when you help other people, you actually help yourself. Because when you say to someone, how are you? And they respond, you're going to end up talking about how you are. And it does make a difference.